It was just a Sunday night, February 17th, 1974. For most teenagers in Fort Worth, Texas, it was the winding down of a weekend, maybe homework to finish, or a final stolen moment with a crush before school bells rang again. A normal night. But for one family, for one vibrant, promising young woman, it was the night the world fractured. The night a monster emerged from the darkness. This is the story of Carla Jan Walker. Not just the story of her tragic end, but the story of who she was, the dreams she held, and the loving family whose lives were irrevocably changed the moment she vanished. For 46 years, her name would echo through the halls of unsolved mysteries, a silent plea for justice. This is the complete story of a Valentine's weekend nightmare and the astonishing scientific breakthrough that finally brought answers decades later. Carla Jan Walker arrived in the world on January 31st, 1957. She was the cherished daughter of Leighton and Doris Walker, a solid, hard-working couple who had already known their share of heartache. Years before Carla's birth, her parents had lost an older daughter in a devastating car accident. This previous loss, while unspoken, perhaps instilled in them an even deeper appreciation for the life and joy Carla brought into their home. She grew up alongside her younger brother Jim, who was just 12 years old when the unthinkable happened. To Jim, Carla wasn't just a sister, she was a protective, nurturing presence, a typical older sibling figure who was also a friend. She was the one who could tease him but also stand up for him. From a young age, Carla possessed a gentle spirit, especially when it came to animals. She had a profound love for them, and it wasn't just a passing childhood fancy. Carla was bright, capable, and had a clear vision for her future. She wanted to be a veterinarian. Imagine the countless animals she might have helped, the lives she might have touched had she been given the chance. She was the kind of student who could achieve that dream, a girl who worked hard and aimed high. By 1974, Carla was a vibrant 17-year-old, navigating the exciting, sometimes awkward world of high school. She was a student at Western Hills High in Fort Worth, a place where she wasn't just another face in the crowd. Carla was a cheerleader, a symbol of school spirit and youthful exuberance. She had friends, plans, and the entire expanse of young adulthood stretching out before her. Like any teenager, she had her first serious boyfriend, Rodney McCoy. They were a typical high school couple, going to dances, spending time together, making plans for the future that seemed so certain. No one could have predicted how swiftly that certainty would shatter. The night of February 17th had begun innocently enough. Carla and Rodney had attended a Valentine's dance at their high school. Afterwards, they did what many couples did on a Sunday evening. They went to a local bowling alley, the Seminary, South Bowling Alley, to talk and spend a little more time together before the school week resumed. They were sitting in Rodney's car, parked in the bowling alley lot just talking. The details from here are chilling, pieced together from Rodney's fractured memories and the stark evidence left behind. Without warning, a man ripped open the passenger door where Carla sat. He was armed and violent. Rodney, trying to protect Carla, bravely struggled with the assailant, but he was no match for the attacker's brutal force. He was pistol-whipped, struck repeatedly with the assailant's weapon, until he lost consciousness, slumping forward in the driver's seat. It was a terrifying, chaotic assault over in mere seconds. When Rodney came to a few agonizing minutes later, the world was silent save for the ringing in his ears. The car door was open. Carla was gone. The shock, the terror, the sickening realization must have been overwhelming. He was injured, disoriented, but his only thought was Carla. He stumbled out of the car trying to find help, trying to comprehend what had just happened. The police were called and a frantic search began. Carla's parents, Leighton and Doris, were thrust into every parent's worst nightmare. Imagine the phone call, the disbelief, quickly turning to a gnawing, agonizing fear. For 3 excruciating days, the Walker family, along with law enforcement and volunteers, searched. They hoped against hope. They prayed. Every passing hour chipped away at that hope, replacing it with dread. Then the phone rang. On February 20th, Carla's body was found in a culvert ditch in Benbrook, more than 10 miles from where she was abducted. The discovery confirmed their worst fears, but it offered no answers about who was responsible. The monster had left no clear trail, no definitive clues. The family's pain, already immeasurable from the earlier loss of their other daughter, deepened into an unbearable chasm. Carla's parents, Leighton and Doris, faced this new horrific reality with a stoicism born of profound grief. They were determined to find answers for their daughter. They made appeals, worked with investigators, and endured the agony of unanswered questions. But the years turned into decades. The physical evidence, meticulously collected in 1974, sat untouched, a silent testament to a crime that time refused to forget, even if justice seemed to. Jim, Carla's younger brother, grew up under the shadow of this unsolved crime, watching his parents carry the immense burden of their daughter's absence. His mother, Doris, though outwardly strong, privately battled depression for the rest of her life. Detectives worked the case tirelessly in the early years, following every lead, but the technology just wasn't there yet. Suspects were interviewed, including Glen McCurley, who even worked for the company that owned the bowling alley. He was interviewed by police just days after Carla's body was found, but due to a lack of concrete evidence, and crucially, the inability to analyze a bloody garment found at the scene with the precision needed, he was not charged. He denied involvement, and the trail went cold. Carla's parents, Leighton and Doris, passed away in 2010 and 2013 respectively, never knowing who took their daughter. It was the ultimate tragedy for a family that had already endured so much. Jim Walker, however, refused to let the case die with his parents. He became a relentless advocate for his sister, constantly pushing the Fort Worth Police Department, making sure Carla's name was never forgotten. He kept hope alive, even when it seemed irrational. And then, after 46 long years, the impossible became possible. In 2019, the Fort Worth Police Department's cold case unit, spearheaded by Detective Leah Palmer, picked up Carla's file again. They knew the future of cold case investigations lay in DNA. They sent the crucial evidence from the original crime scene, that bloody garment which had been preserved for decades, to a private lab for re-examination. This time the results were astounding. A full male DNA profile was extracted. But it wasn't just about getting a profile, it was about what you could do with it. The Fort Worth investigators partnered with a pioneering company specializing in forensic genetic genealogy. This wasn't just about matching DNA to a criminal database, it was about building a family tree. Using the DNA profile, genealogists uploaded the sequence to public DNA databases, similar to those used by people tracing their ancestry. They then began the painstaking process of building out family trees, looking for close relatives of the unknown suspect. Bit by bit, cousin by cousin, they started to narrow down a family line, and it led directly to Glen McCurley. In March 2020, now 77 years old, McCurley was brought in for questioning. Under intense interrogation, he still denied involvement, but police obtained a DNA sample from him. The results were undeniable. It was a direct match to the DNA found on Carla Walker's clothing. On September 21, 2020, Glen McCurley was arrested and charged with the capital murder of Carla Walker. The news sent shockwaves through Fort Worth and brought a wave of relief, tinged with sadness, to Jim Walker and the remnants of Carla's family. The man who had been a suspect way back in 1974 was finally going to face justice. The trial took place in August 2021. Prosecutors presented overwhelming DNA evidence, along with the original circumstantial evidence that pointed to McCurley. It was a powerful case built on decades of perseverance and the precision of modern science. On August 25, 2021, Glen McCurley was found guilty of capital murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. For 46 years, the murder of Carla Walker was a wound in the heart of Fort Worth, a chilling cold case that haunted a family. Her parents, Leighton and Doris, never saw the day their daughter's killer was brought to justice. But their fight and Jim's relentless dedication ensured that Carla was never forgotten. The solving of Carla Walker's case is a powerful testament to the tireless work of cold case detectives, the advancements in forensic science, and the enduring love of a family. It reminds us that even when the trail seems to vanish, the echoes of the past can persist, sometimes for decades, until finally, they lead us to the truth. Thank you for watching Echoes of Asphalt. If this story touched you, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history's hidden corners, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. And in the comments below, share your thoughts. What aspect of Carla's story or the journey to solve her case do you find most impactful?